We spend on average more hours awake in our classroom than we do in our homes. In this episode, we're going to take a look at easy, low-budget ways to create a visually engaging space that not only your students will love, but that you will feel comfortable in and enjoy all day. Hi, I'm Renae Green, and I'm an elementary and intermediate art teacher in South Central Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Art of Education University's Zero Budget Art Room, where we celebrate your ingenuity and help you make the most of your budget, all while spending zero out of pocket. Art rooms are a unique space in a school because they're a place where visually stimulating decor can really positively impact student engagement. I want my students to come in and look around and be inspired and ready to go. And I believe there's certain elements that can really help with that, and they're low cost too, which is what we're going to dive into today. In my classroom, I have a paint can above each table, and this is how students know what table they sit at by the color. And these are so cost effective to make. I had an empty paint can and then just a party tablecloth, and I got these for free. So when I did this originally, I was in a split position between 3 elementary schools. I went into a local paint store in my area, and I explained that I was an art teacher and what I wanted to do, and they willingly gave me the cans. They couldn't just give me 24 up front, but I want to say that they gave me 6 at a time. So this is something that you can definitely request as a donation and at least try at your local hardware stores or paint stores. And so now I want to show you how I did this. All right, so our first hole is going to go right in the middle of the bottom, and we're just going to use a simple drill for that. So just one little hole. And now we're gonna do the same thing on the side. And now we're gonna use the party tablecloth to make it look like it's spilling out. And for that, I'm just gonna cut it in a drippy shape, and I'm gonna use some hot glue. All right, and we have our paint can done. So now we're ready to string it. Fishing line is my best friend. I use fishing line to hang everything in my classroom. I have worked in places where you could hang nothing from the ceilings, and I have worked in places where you can hang lots of things from the ceilings. So just double check that before you do any of this. These are ceiling hooks, so you can hang things easily from a drop ceiling from the metal bars. And along with the paint buckets, I also have paintbrushes floating all around my ceiling. Now you can certainly use old paintbrushes to do this with. You do not have to buy them, but these are the ones that I get, and they are so low cost. And they also have little holes. They're easy to string with the fishing line to then hang. And so to do this, we're just gonna dip the ends in some leftover paint that I have. And so then when these dry, I would just string them with fishing line and hang them from the drop ceiling metal bars like we did the paint buckets. Now for the paintbrushes, because they're so light, you can also use paper clips if you don't have ceiling hooks. And we can't forget about clotheslines. Clotheslines are a great way to not only display your students' work, but to also add more color to your room. And they drape all the way down my classroom. So the clotheslines are bare now because we had to swap out a bunch of stuff to get ready for our Scholastic Showcase and our district show, but we're gonna fix that now. Is this episode making you rethink your art room space? Check out Pro Learning, an on-demand PD for art teachers that features hands-on tutorials, resources, and strategies. If you're a Pro member, we have a pack all about rethinking your art room space. And if you're not a Pro member, head on over to our website, which we'll link in the description box down below for more information on how to get Pro for your district. So one of my favorite places in my classroom is the Wonder Wall. I use the Wonder Wall as a place to hang student artwork as students give me things throughout each quarter, and they know that it didn't just go in a pile on your desk, but it went somewhere up in your room. And you can create something like this on a bulletin board, but in my case, I have a very big wall. And I only had to buy 3 things for the wall, which made it really cost effective when I was first coming into this space. The black background is a washable bulletin board roll that I got online, and I liked that it was washable because it's really close to my tables, and I knew it was gonna get splattered with paint inevitably throughout the year. So the wall that the Wonder Wall is on is actually called a soft wall. So you can staple directly into this wall, which is awesome. It's super convenient for putting something like the Wonder Wall up. And as for how the art is hung, I got a pack of pins that were actually mini clothespins. And the spots where students put their art is simply just neon cardstock paper. So I got 1 pack of that, and it more than covered the whole wall. Now I do use this for something else in the room, which I'm gonna show you now. And so the other place that I use the neon cardstock is for the banner of paint chips right behind me. And paint chips are obviously your best friend for that because they are free for decorating your art room, and you could do a bunch with these. And at this school where I have the paint chips, I do not have soft walls. So if I'm working with a wall that is not a soft wall, I will use poster board or any heavier weight paper, and I will use a hot glue gun and glue the paint chips onto there. And then when when you go to hang this up, you'll just want to put adhesive strips on the back. And I have my elements of art and my principles of design on a background like this in the front of my room. And the paint swatches are also an awesome option for making a color wheel in your room if you have the space or a bulletin board. But when I came to this school, I opted for a different option for a color wheel. And the only costs I really had associated with the color wheel were 3 pool noodles and flowers that I got from the dollar store. And to put together the actual peace sign, I used the pool noodles and duct tape. And then from there, once I had the peace sign together, I just took the fake flowers and poked them into the pool noodle. I didn't need to make a giant one again, so we'll hang this one in the hallway or something. Remember, just because items are cheap or super affordable does not mean that you need to buy them. There are a lot of ways to secure what you want and need for your students in classroom and still spend zero out of pocket. So stay tuned for our last episode where we talk all about asking for help. I'm also a big fan of collaborative sculptures. I think they're a great way to add decor to your classroom and to your school building. And I love opening up the year with a collaborative project, and there's so many good recycled ones too. I should also note too that an awesome coworker, he gave me a huge box of this faux boxwood paneling that I was able to create my green spaces with. And the signs on the wonder wall and on the maker space, I actually made using 2 pieces of plywood. And then I placed just a little bit of stain on the edge. I didn't even stain the whole thing. And then the rest is just white paint, and you could even use like a white paint marker for that too. And any sign that I made when I was a split school teacher, I made 3 of, which is crazy to think of. And I also think it's important to note that your room doesn't have to be what you envision right off the bat. It takes years to build up to what you are imagining sometimes, and that's totally okay. You could add 1 piece a year, and you could even have students help you with collaborative sculptures or even help you dip paintbrushes and string them. You can bring the classroom in on that, and then the students have even more ownership over the area where they learn. Are you loving this episode on sprucing up your space? If so, you'll want to watch Art Room Makeover here on YouTube. We'll link the playlist in the cards. For more fun ideas on how to decorate your space, there's several articles you could read, like Establishing Creative Sanctuaries, 5 tips to redecorate and reorganize for back to school, and make over your art room to start the new year with a fresh and inspiring space, and 12 terrific DIY projects for your art room to get started on immediately, or 27 ways to design an inviting, functional, and flexible art room over on the magazine. Check the description box below for direct links. Probably my most favorite part of my room is underneath my cabinet here. I bought 1 pack of decals that I stuck on, which are all of the black lines, and then I created my little art museum using gold frames that I got offline and an old board game that I found cleaning out my closet when I took over this room. I had so many teachers message, and they were like, "That game is in my closet too." And that was hysterical to me. And then I geeked out and I made museum tags for each of the paintings too, so that students would be aware of what they were looking at. And I searched up gold mini wedding favor frames to find them. And then all I did was buy an LED strip of under cabinet lighting, and I ran that down the length of the cabinets. And something I personally love is different lighting in a classroom. And you can achieve that also for a very low cost. I don't have windows other than the 2 skylights in my room. So I generally will just put this 1 set of lights on around the skylight and then have all the ambient lighting in the room. So that is what this would look like if I were to put them all on. And it's such a nicer atmosphere like this. And then sometimes they'll request the middle ones to go off, which make it even nicer. Now, you don't need to buy string lights if you want overhead lighting and you're allowed to hang that. You can simply use white winter lights too. And don't forget about lamps. Another awesome low-cost thing for your room can be lamps that you can find at yard sales. This was a yard sale find. And my board lights have a multitude of options. You can have them change between certain colors. I just have it on a slow fade between cool colors. And we can't forget about our novelty crayon light. We can't forget about plants. I may be saying that because I'm plant obsessed and have somewhere over 50 houseplants, but I have a good 8 or 10 here in the classroom, and the students love to be able to water them on a Friday and take care of them. And I think it's really cool to see them excited to find out that they're real plants so they can help me with them, which we also need to do now. Thanks so much for watching. What is your favorite decorated space in your room? Please share down below in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode in our Zero Budget Art Room series.